Jake, heading into the weekend here for Friday baseball, and I just have to point out um, A grade plays having another winning week. This looks like it'll be 4 straight weeks of A grade plays winning, and that would make 17 of the 22 weeks that they'd be profitable. Uh, I don't know if you're not with us on Dub Club to get all those A grade plays. I don't know what you're doing, to be honest.
Yeah. It'd be absolutely foolish to not be involved there, especially with the totals and everything. It's just lining up.
Totals have done not quite as well. They've only been profitable 12 of 17 weeks. I don't play totals first month of the season, so only 12 of 17. That's just terrible. It's cousin Jared mentioned it. I think I don't know, it was yesterday, earlier in the week, that the A grade plays have just been so consistent this year, so good. They did have a little 2-week losing streak. Here, let's just look at the sheet here. 17 and 18 just didn't do well, and then now bouncing back 4 straight weeks. And that's just been how it's gone. And I made this comment, if you missed the interview I did with Dub Club, that it felt like in the past, we kind of had this whole every month can't be a winning month. Everybody knows that, but it's really felt like every month has been a winning month, which is insane. It's been every week's not profitable, absolutely, but on the month it has been. And again, if you're not with us in Dub Club, it's under $1 a day. The winners are there. Just play the A grade plays, and you get a lot of other information. That's the thing, is try to cater a lot of information, what you want to do. Minimum, sign up, bet the A grade plays. Anything else you get is just icing on the cake if you want to take the other information that they give you. But I mean, when the model, and I was thinking about this the other day. I don't want to go too long on this, but this is a math show, right? And I really want to lean into that, right? The stats professor thing, this is my thing, and I want to help people understand why the A grade plays are doing so well. It's not anything other than when the discrepancy between my projection and the book's line is large. What that means is I can be missing certain things, and even if I am, we still have a plus expected value play. That's what makes them strong. That's the nuts and bolts of it. That's if you want to get into the weeds, that's why they're so good. Whereas the B grade plays, that's why I say on the B grade and the C grade plays, we want to look into them and think, do we really like them, and analyze them. That's what we try to do a little bit on the show, is talk about a B or a C grade pick that we like. Because there, if I'm missing something in the model, that might not be a plus expected value play. And that's what we are all about, is those plus expected value plays. But the A grade plays, we kind of play them blindly, because even though they aren't going to win all the time, White Sox, had a lead. The White Sox, we had a White Sox A grade first 5 at least that cashed, thankfully, because of that 5th inning for them. But the White Sox pitching was just, oh my gosh. And that's going to happen sometimes, right? That's baseball. But the point is, in the long run, those A grades, even if I'm missing things, are still going to be solid plays on the whole, just almost no matter what. And the B's and the C's, that's where we want to look and see, do we agree with them or not? And that's what we try to do. Jake, I rambled a lot. Do you have anything to add to that?
No, it's just absolutely fantastic how this your sideline's been going. Especially, it really came about, not that I wasn't a believer beforehand, but when we switched to money line in college basketball last year, that's when it really just took off, and it's been great ever since.
I'm really looking forward to college basketball season again. I can't believe I'm saying that, because the long-running joke we have is that I hate college basketball. But the last, whatever that was, 6 weeks was just incredible with the money lines in college basketball. And you even get a little bit bigger favorites and underdogs, but it works so well because we were able to cash and I broke this out because I was trying to see. We were playing a lot of minus 260s and minus 350s and crazy things. We were winning 90% of them or something, right? And we were playing a bunch of dogs, and we were playing a bunch of 220 and dogs or whatever, and we were winning 40% of those, which made them really profitable. It was a lot of fun. Anyway, baseball, I guess the thing to talk about, right, is the Angels, RAP for their season. Trout comes back for 1 game. Ohtani's done pitching. If you're an Angels fan, I imagine you feel like you knew this was coming. But man, that was a rough night last night for an Angels fan. I feel like you might have hit the bourbon hard last night if you're an Angels fan, right?
Yeah, that's rough. And then not that Ohtani's going to be hurting for money, but that's what going to at least cut down $100 million or $2 million off that next contract he's going to sign wherever he signs it.
Yeah, it's going to make things real interesting, right? Does he now sign a 1-year deal as I'm just going to be a hitter? and rehab my elbow, and then he can sign that big deal as a pitcher, or I don't know. It's going to make things really interesting in the offseason when we get there. Yeah, it's a lot of things happening. Of course, the college football right around the corner. Remember, just remind you early on the show, if you haven't seen the Week 0 episode of Me and Cousin Jared, check that out. We're real excited for Sunday night to record Week 1 episode. There's a ton of great games on that. The next show that will be recorded will be that. You might see the next baseball show first, depending on how it plays out. We're going to record another college football show here for Week 1. And then after that, JQ and I are going to be breaking down the NFL. Preseason games are wrapping up this weekend, and then everybody gets Labor Day off, which is nice for them. I actually turned the TV on to some NFL football for the first time. I had some preseason on just to kind of get back into like, oh, yeah, there's this football thing, and they play on this grass, the white lines. It's kind of like baseball, right? Grass and white lines, right? It's like the same sport.
Yeah, just a few more white lines.
A few more white lines, a little more hitting. Helmets, though, I mean, it's kind of the same sport, think about it that way. We got a lot of football stuff going on. I'll be dropping a promotion again here, I think this weekend, on Twitter for Dub Club. If you're not with us already, to go ahead and lock in the next several months to finish up baseball and to get in for football. Again, if you're not with us there, you're missing out. Check it out. See what you think about it. Again, the sign up link's in the show description, but again, I'll drop something on Twitter or on X or whatever the heck we're calling that thing now. We've rambled enough. Let's get to it here. 7:07 p.m. Eastern, the Guardians of the Blue Jays. Sideline does not like the Guardians. I mean, that's just the bottom line. It really doesn't like them. It went hard against them here these last 2 days against the Dodgers. We had the Dodgers the back-to-back plays today. I'm calling it officially a push for Wednesday's game because that's how most sportsbooks operate. If you happen to play at one that did not push that, congrats to you. You've got some extra coin in your pocket. But I love the Dodgers on Wednesday. That game half happened on Wednesday and then half on Thursday. They won easily. I love the Dodgers on Thursday. They won pretty easily in that one as well. And part of it is the Dodgers are great. We've talked about that. They're an incredible team. We don't have to go deep in that. But the Guardians just not very good. And I think, yes, I saw it today. And I commented this on Dub Club. The Giant, or on Discord, the Guardians offense, their number 3-hole hitter was a guy who was not good enough to play offensively for the Yankees, who have exactly one hitter in their lineup at this point. And their number 4 hitter was cut by the A's. And that just tells you how bad their offense is. You can see it on the screen, that rating of a 78. It's really Jose Ramirez. You take him out, and it's in the 60s. I mean, they're like maybe the worst offense in baseball without Jose Ramirez, who's incredible. But it's just not much else. Blue Jays offense, of course, still pretty good. Maybe not, what we hoped it would be. If you were a Blue Jays fan, you were hoping to be best offense in baseball for years to come. Still a good offense, just maybe not quite, again, at the top. It's still very good. Tanner Bybee and Chris Bassett, 2 pretty solid pitchers, get pretty similar grades. Bybee's ERA is better, but the underlying metrics suggest maybe the gap's a little bit closer. You also have to look at historical data. The fact that Bybee's a younger guy, he just has more variability. I think the upside for Bybee is a lot higher for sure, being a younger guy. Bassett's a little bit more of a known quality, going to be somewhere in the solid, not great, good kind of range. Bybee, we don't want to get too caught up, be too much of a prisoner of the moment, but he has looked good so far. So I think his upside's there. Model thinks he's the better pitcher by a little bit. He might be a little better than the model thinks, but the edge there is just nowhere near what the edge is between these two teams offensively. And that's the key and why the Blue Jays, according to Sideline, win this game about 64% of the time. Price should be at minus 180. Moneyline A grade is minus 155. Lo and behold, the current price is minus 155. We are sneaking them in right at the threshold of an A grade. And it's talked about at the top of the show, right? What that means is the difference between the probability that I think they win and the sports books that we can bet them at says that even if I'm missing something, and what I might be missing, Tanner Bybee might be a little bit better of a pitcher. Even if I'm missing that a little bit, what this says is this is still a plus expected value play, and those are the ones that we want to have more money on. That's why we put more on the A-grade plays. Jake, what are your thoughts on this one?
It comes down to the offense. I think the Guardians are already in looking at next year mode, just seeing what they can find and put together. I feel sorry for Bybee and Ramirez because Ramirez just signed that long-term deal to stay there and probably shouldn't have because that's going to relegate him to Mike Trout status. We're a very good player that never gets to sniff the playoffs. And then Bybee is – I think he's going to be a very, very good pitcher, but I think his youth right now makes that kind of yo-yo a little bit until he gets it narrowed down. And that's the advantage with Bassett. He's got a good offense behind him. He's probably a little more comfortable. He's been there, done that kind of thing. And I think that the Blue Jays are just such a better team right now.
They really are right in the thick of the playoff race there for that last spot. It's looking like a heck of a race in the AL for the wild card, throwing in the Blue Jays for the AL West. The Rangers, Astros, and Mariners are all right there. Whoever doesn't win the division is two of those teams battling with the Blue Jays for the last two spots, assuming the Rays and the Orioles still hang out in front, which might be a race for that division. It's looking like a great race there. The Guardians, though, I think are just about done. The thing I want to say about Bobby, the last thing about him specifically is xFIP of 432. When a player has an xFIP of a $1.30 higher than their ERA, that indicates that he's had some good luck. I'm not trying to rain on his parade. I'm not trying to dog him. He's a really good pitcher for sure. I'm giving him an 88 grade. I mean, I don't know what more you want for a rookie, right? But the point being, if you're just looking at ERAs, you probably think he's much better than Bassett. And that's where I'm not sure if he were to continue to pitch the way he's pitched, if that ERA wouldn't start creeping up. Now, it probably wouldn't get up to 432, especially with the innings he's already banked, but it would start trending up. A good Blue Jays offense is the type of team that if you aren't getting good luck against, they can really make you pay. And so that's the possibility that we see here. Like you said, the offenses are just so different that Chris Bassett, even though he's not a fantastic pitcher, he's good enough. He should have success against this Guardians offense. Guardians coming off basically playing a doubleheader here the day before. Just sets up to be a good spot for the Blue Jays. Again, A-grade play at minus 155. Total in this game is 8.5. Model says 7.8. Model, again, likes Bybee, thinks that the Blue Jays are going to score, but not going to score a ton, and just does not think the Guardians score much of anything. Both sets of relievers are above average. Jake, Model would lean under 8.5. It's a difference of about 7/10 of a run on expected value. How do you feel about this total? Is under 8.5 something that you lean, you like, you stay away, or are you waiting, hoping for 9? What are your thoughts on this total?
If it stays at 8.5, I'll end up playing it. I'm hoping I get 9, so I'm going to watch it. But I do like the under here. I don't think the Guardians' offense has got enough in it to push us over, and with Bybee and the relievers, I think this stays well under.
I kind of agree. It sets up to be a 5-1 type game, and obviously sports are unpredictable and weird things happen. Like nobody in the right mind would have predicted the Red Sox put up 17 runs against the Astros, and even aside from the fact that 4 of them were off of Maldonado, they got like 11 in the first 5 innings or whatever. Right? No one would predict that. So sports are unpredictable, right? But this feels like a 5-1 type game where the Guardians will get. The Blue Jays will get some. Guardians shouldn't get that many. I'm like you. If it hangs at 8.5. Probably go under, but I'd love a 9, just that push protection on a common number. The other thing to note, temperature in Toronto is projected to be in the mid 60s. I'm thinking that's going to mean the roof open. That's how I've run it with the model. If they open the roof up and it's mid 60s, that's going to bring the expected number of runs down a little bit. I have got it at a negative 3% adjustment, not a ton, but if they close that roof and it gets a little bit toastier in there, that could change things up a tiny bit. It's not going to be a huge difference. It's just something to note that depending on exactly what the temperature does and what the roof does, you could be talking about a difference of an expected up to half a run swing from max and min. So just something to kind of keep an eye on there. But under, I think you and I are on the same page. They're kind of the lean, maybe not a bad pick at 8.5, but no rush necessarily to play that one. To some late games. Royals at the Mariners. The model doesn't like the Royals either. The first thing we have to talk about this, the Mariners have been playing so good, some insanely good baseball, and yet in August, the Royals in Kansas City gave them everything they wanted. Every game was tight. That was a crazy series. I'm not saying that doesn't mean anything, but I don't think it means a lot. You've got a young team in the Royals that's going to play better at home than on the road. Sports are weird, right? Every bad team has this random series where they look good, random stretches where they look good. I just want to get ahead of this so that we're not like, oh, well, the Royals played them well, they've got their number. I don't really think that means much, considering they saw a different pitcher every night. The Mariners bullpen might be the biggest concern here. And you can see that grade up to a 79 on the screen. When they were like a 70 a month ago, they've looked terrible as of late. That I still think they're good. I still believe in them. But man, that's been the lone weak spot for the Mariners, has been that bullpen. Has really struggled. It struggled again in that last game against Chicago. And it struggled against the Royals, and that was part of the issue there. So they really got to figure out whatever's going on. They've got a lot of great arms, but it's like they traded their closer, and I don't know, something mental about the slots and how everything was going. It's just been a big question mark for them since then. Not that I think Sewell was that good. It's just everything's been a little bit off that bullpen. That's the concern you have. Otherwise, this is a massive mismatch. The Royals relievers haven't been good all season. The Mariners offense is decent. The Royals offense isn't. Two decent starters here. Brady Singer, who's been mostly pitching a little bit better, and I've been talking about as of late, not as bad as that ERA underlying metric suggests. It should be about a full run lower than the 5.04 that it sits at. Bryce Miller has been pretty strong all season, 3.78 ERA. Advanced metrics say maybe it should be a little bit higher. So that's the reason why Singer gets a better grade. The advanced metrics, and of course, Singer had such a great year last year. We can't completely ignore that. We don't put too much stock in it, but it matters a little bit. Either way, probably rounding error. Two solid pitchers. Mariners, though, a much better team. Model says they win 70% of the time. A grade threshold minus 199. We've been riding the Mariners a lot. It's been mostly good to us here in the month of July and August. Minus 199 is the threshold for an A grade. We've got minus 177. Jake, I feel like anytime you get the Mariners at an A grade, it's starting to feel a little bit like last year. Early on it was real scary, and they still play in a bunch of close games. But it's, for the most part, even though they let us down a couple days ago, for the most part, it's been pretty good. Anytime the model really likes the Mariners, it likes them here. What do you think?
Yeah, look, I can't figure out why we're getting minus 177. The Royals, I mean, I know Singer he's a very good pitcher, very solid pitcher, but that bullpen is so bad. Like, you had a 129 up there, I think is what I saw it rated at, which is just stunning.
It's two full standard deviations below average. It's just the only one worse than that, I'm pretty sure, is maybe the Angels and the A's are the only ones worse than that.
Was just dogging on the Angels tonight. But yeah, it's just the Royals. And I mean, their offense.
And I'm wearing a Dodgers hat, a Dodgers jersey.
Yeah, that's a bad night. The Royals offense not going to be good enough to overcome this, even with their best pitcher going. That's the way the Mariners play right now. It's hard not to back them, and the fact that we're getting minus 177 is lovely.
The run line A grade price requirement would be plus 111. The current price is plus 115. If you wanted some run line action, that would also get into an A grade. It would barely get there. It would get there a little bit less than the money line. The reason for that is the model expects a little bit fewer runs in the sports books, and that's, again, where we get a little bit boost or not to that run line, as do we expect more or less runs. Current total is 8. Model says 7.5. Seattle is such a pitcher-friendly environment. A roof opener not there, and a lot of the nights are the same. You got two decent starting pitchers. The Mariners' offense has been a lot better as of late, mostly fueled by Julio Rodriguez. Not just that little hot stretch he had. He's been much better. That first couple months of the season, he struggled. Mariners' offense struggled. A lot of the Mariners hitters struggled. But as they started playing better, he was one of the key ingredients to that. Of course, everyone knows about the little 4-game stretch he had. That was just incredible. But Mariners, they can go times without scoring, and you just don't expect the Royals. Doesn't mean they can't. You just don't expect the Royals' offense to score much against Bryce Miller and these Mariner relievers in Seattle. Very different than in Kauffman Stadium, where they were last week when they played. And you have one of the more hitter-friendly, top 5 hitter-friendly ballpark. Very different world here. So if the Royals don't score many runs, it's going to be hard for this game to get over. That's why the model kind of leans under. But that's what makes the run line also not quite as appealing, because you got the Mariners as the home team in what could be a low-scoring game. Jake, I have to say, I still probably would sprinkle a little bit on the run line. I'm sure you would like that as well.
Most of the time I would, but this time with the way the bullpen has been throwing for the Mariners, it kind of scares me a little bit. Makes sense to do it. I'm a little more conservative there.
Would that kind of
late run?
Would that kind of scare you off a little bit of the under 8 as well, or do you think you still see like a 4-3 type game? Or
I like the under 8. I'm just not convinced that we might get 4-3, we might get 3-2, anything like that. I'm just not 100% confident in that Mariners bullpen right now.
Yeah, before, in the month of July when they were so good, right? This game's 2-0 in the ninth inning, and you're like, got the run line, got the under, right? These games, 4-1, got the run line, got the under. Now even if it was 5-2, you'd be like, got them both, right? And now you just be like holding your breath in the eighth and the ninth, be like, what is going to happen with that? It's been just, I don't quite get it. It doesn't make any sense. I know there are some people who will talk about roles. Humans are creatures of habit, so who knows, right? I'm not trying to say it is or it isn't, because there are some people who are going to be really about their roles, their routines, their habits, and they get a little bit off if they're pitching different situations. And that's kind of a thing with some people. I don't know if that's it. I don't know if it's just sometimes we like to take bad variants and we like to attribute a story to it. So we're trying to come up with a narrative, and there really isn't one there. I don't know. All I know is that the results have been really shaky for this bullpen. And when is it going to get figured out? Is it going to get figured out anytime soon? I have no idea. Mariners still should win this, but there is that big question mark. Thankfully for them with Bryce Miller on the hill, it sets up to be any one of these number of scores we've talked about late, and the Mariners should be able to hold on. The big question is, can they hold on to win by more than one? Make sure you're getting plus odds in that run line, though, of course, because even as much as we like the Mariners and we think there's a 70% chance they win, there's only a 51% chance, according to the model, they cover the run line. That means there's about a 20% chance they win by exactly one run. And that makes sense when we expect a lower scoring game in Seattle that they could easily win by one. And so a 20% chance is a lot, to be honest, for winning by an exact score. So something to keep in mind there. Last game, 10:15 p.m. Eastern, so 7:15 local. Braves and the Giants, two teams that are, two teams that are looking at the playoffs. One's already in, right? And one's eyeing to stay in their playoff spot. The Giants have been a team struggling. Called up Patrick Bailey, started playing better, kind of struggling as of late here. The last, August hasn't been quite as good at the Giants as maybe, June and July was. Braves still keep rolling. Spencer Strider still definitely in the running for the best pitcher in baseball, best pitcher in the National League, potentially. I mean, cannot say enough good things about him. Underlying metrics better than that ERA. You expect nothing but good things from him. Logan Webb's been fantastic too. He's had a couple of bumps in the road, but a 3.36 ERA, and the advanced metrics say maybe it should actually be lower. I mean, you got a really good pitcher on the other side as well. Two decent sets of relievers as well. Of course, you got that Braves offense can just do any amount of damage at any time. It seems like Braves and Dodgers both are just, you get that top of the lineup and you just hold your breath if you're going against them, and you're giddy if you're with them. The Dodgers today, multiple innings, I think the second and third time through, Mookie gets a hit, Freeman gets a hit, and it's just like, yeah, here we go. And the Braves are the same way. You get that top of the lineup, if you're back and you're like, get to the top, you're like, all right, here we go. Like, the hits are coming, and that's just what the Braves have done all season. Model suggests the Braves win 62% of the time, should be minus 162, minus 140 would be an A grade. We have a B grade pick on the Braves at minus 149, pretty solidly in that B threshold here, not quite close enough to an A. Jake, what do you got on this one?
I just think the Braves are the night off going with Strider out on the mound. It's really hard not to back them. They've been out there, so you don't have to worry about the whole travel time zone thing. I'm sure with the night off, they've been out there for a while to get adjusted to that. The Giants just they seem very shaky right now. I can't put my finger on why exactly. It doesn't make sense. It could be that their offense that's been good, decent for most of the year, but just there wasn't too many names there that provide the extra power or the timely hits, and maybe that's finally catching up to them. But the Braves, I thought their offense was going to take a hurt when Ozzie went down, and it almost seemed to get better. When you just take Harris out of the ninth spot and put him in the second spot, and that's
no big deal.
Yeah, it's a ridiculous amount of offensive talent there. Ozuna is on fire. Rosario, this Braves team might be peaking now, which I'm not sure if that's a great thing or not, but
it's not.
But it's unreal how good they are this year. With add in all the pitching trouble they've had, it's ridiculous. I don't see Strider screwing this game up. I think he'll go deep and really take advantage of this Giants offense. So,
I mean, I have two thoughts to your point about the Giants struggling. I think number one, the offense has kind of constantly got about a league average grade from me all season. And I think that's what happens with league average offenses. You see times where they perform better and they perform worse, and they perform better and they win a lot of games. I think you've seen them perform a little bit under that. And the truth is somewhere in between. They probably aren't as good offensively as they had in that hot streak in the middle of the summer when they just looked, when they were scored a bunch of runs. You're like, how are they doing this? These guys aren't that good, right? And they're not quite as bad as what we've seen now, which is they seem completely clueless, right? The truth is, again, somewhere in between. That's what the model said all along. I think the other thing is they've been so reliant on the bullpen, and I think it's starting to wear down a little bit. We've talked about this. It happened with the Dodgers earlier in the season, the Astros earlier in the season. Some of these other teams, the Giants just have been wearing those guys down. And I think that's kind of showing in some of the results with the fact that they've really only had Webb has obviously been the guy that they can throw out there consistently. Cobb has for the most part, but he's even had a couple times where he's missed starts, had a couple injuries, a couple shortened starts, that sort of thing. I think they've got one other guy. I'm losing his name out, but they've kind of rolled 2 to 3 starters, it seems like, all season, and the rest has just been bullpen games. And they've done it with a mismatch of Woods thrown a little, Manaea's thrown a little, and Stripling's thrown a little, and Jelly's thrown a little coming up from AAA, but it's just all those innings are starting to wear down. Stripling now back on the IL. I think that's kind of the thing we're seeing lately is a combination of the offense just having a downturn, the bullpen getting wore out. Doesn't mean they can't turn right back around. I think they're still a solid team, but maybe, again, not quite as good as they looked in that middle of the summer when everything was going well for them. Jake, this one, the total is 7.5. Model says 7.3. Look, the people want us to disagree, all right? So I'm going to give the people what they want. And I kind of like the under more than the Braves, and you don't. And so I'm going to give you the floor there because I look at this and I think both are good plays, right? I think the Braves are a good B-grade play, and I tend to agree with you having that day off before it comes in handy. Strider is a guy that sometimes doesn't go as deep, right? You compare him to Webb. Webb's got 23 more innings and 1 more start. Webb's the guy that goes deep, saves the bullpen. Strider kind of just lets it go, and sometimes only goes like 5-6 innings, right? But with the rested bullpen, that should help. The Braves bullpen, it's all hands on deck with a night off and knowing that Webb is the toughest pitcher to beat, right, to win this game. So I like the Braves. The question about the price, is that too steep versus this 7.5? I don't know. I just think that in San Francisco, night game, 60 degrees like it always is in August, which, as someone who's living in Texas right now, 60 degrees is like
lovely.
Sounds impossible. I just don't know how there's going to be runs in this, but you like the Braves more. The people want us to disagree. Look, we're disagreeing. I like the under more. You like the Braves more. So I'll let you have your rebuttal now.
Look, on the under, what worries me is how much bullpen the Giants have to use, right? They're going to want, because they're really needing this for the playoffs, they're going to want Webb to go as much as they can because Cobb since the All-Star break, not been great. The Scafani or whatever is on the IL.
He's been out almost all the season, it seems like,
Yeah, so they're going to need their bullpen later. So I think Webb may go around too far, and doing that against the Braves offense can really push it over, especially something where a 5-3 beats you, because that's where it worries me. At 8 or 8.5, I'd probably play the under, but 7.5, I'm just too worried about that 8 coming around.
Gotcha. All right. So hopefully that helps you make some sense there. I think both are good plays. And I think you're right. I think Logan Webb is kind of the key to this. How you feel about, can he get a 7th strong inning? I mean, honestly, they'd love an 8th, and he's done that before, of course. Is this Braves offense going to allow him to do it? If Webb has to labor, and you might know early, if you're a live bettor and you kind of have a feel for these things, I'm not. The model is where it is for me, and I just trust the math. If you're a live bettor and you see Webb, laboring early on, that might be an indicator of, the Braves are going to get to him later on, get him out, get the bullpen involved, and that kind of changes things as well. Because if he's laboring only going 5 or 6, it's a very different world than if he goes 7 or 8. So things to consider there with Webb, how deep he goes, whether you like the under 7.5 a little bit more or the Braves. Again, both good picks. Maybe you like a little bit of either or, a little bit of both. You want the intersection of those two. Giants team total under would be another way to look, as a way to kind of play both of them together without literally playing both of them together, which takes us to the pitcher prop of the day in this game. Spencer Strider, we're going to go over 8.5 strikeouts. Obviously, he hits this a lot, 72% of the time. Jake, what I like the most about this play is the situation. In San Francisco, pitchers talk all the time about they love, love, love pitching in San Francisco and Oakland because it is consistently cool. It's not hot. It doesn't wear them down. That matters a lot. We nailed our prop here the night before. Getting that under 5.5 was key. With Heaney, there's a reason, again, why you should be on Dub Club. I sent that out to people that night. I said, get it then. By the morning, it was already gone. And under 4.5, it mattered because they pulled him early because it was a hot night in Minnesota, right? The heat matters for pitchers, fatigue coming out early. Strider's biggest issue is innings. If he goes 6 innings, he's almost assuredly got this with the way the Giants strike out. He probably gets it at 5, to be honest, but at 6, it's a lock. And in a night that's cool in San Francisco, it sets up perfectly for the pitcher to be able to get that extra inning. Jake, you're a Braves fan. You've seen Strider pitch a lot. How do you feel about this prop?
I think you nailed it. I love this prop because anytime you can get Strider under, like I've seen a lot of 9.5s out there, and he's hit that quite a bit. But anytime I see it under 9.5, I play it because it's rare that he doesn't get to 9. I mean, look at there on the screen.
I was gonna say on the screen, and you talk about the difference between 8.5 and 9.5 is look at how many 9s there are. It's what the first 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times. 8 times he hit 9 exactly. So, I mean, like you said, that's a huge difference between whether you're getting 8.5 or 9.5.
Yeah, and I think the way he throws, he's got magnificent stuff. I mean, it's unreal. The Giants swing a lot, and they're fairly aggressive at the plate, and I think that's the reason they get so many strikeouts. I think that's also what leads to them being so up and down, not just like a very consistent average of like a very high and then a very low lows because of how aggressive they are. And I think that's going to play right in the Strider's hands.
I think you're absolutely right. This prop being at 8.5 is shocking to me. In fact, typing in right now this message to the Dub Club, to the Discord people. If you're on Discord, everyone on Dub Club has Discord access. Right now to make sure people get that. Because this feels like there's no reason this should be at 8.5. You are paying a little bit of juice, but again, knowing how key it is to get to 9 is really important. This is another one like the Heaney one. It's got to get to 9.5. I don't understand why it's here. The Giants strike out a lot. Again, the key with him is always innings, but this sets up to be a spot where he should be able to go plenty deep. Honestly, I think I'd still go over 9.5 because I think this is a spot, again, with the weather that matters so much. But the 8.5 is just so much stronger of a pick. Seeing how many times on the screen there he gets to 9 or 10, you got a great chance to hit this one. So pretty good little prop here. Hopefully you're getting 8.5. Hopefully it doesn't disappear too soon. So we can send that out to our people on Dub Club through the Discord chat to make sure they get that. And remember, if you want to see all of the goodies over at Outlier.bet/professor, get you a 7-day free trial that integrates seamlessly with the Big Four domestic sports books. You can go click your prices, make a little wish list, hit a button. It'll take you right to those websites. You can lock those plays in so you can price shop, which is really nice because shopping for player props is like insanely annoying. So just the price shopping alone on Outlier is probably worth the minimal cost that you have to pay for to sign up. It gets you that free trial for 7 days. In the show description, they've got college football props already up on the board for week 0. I haven't even played with it too much yet because I'm still kind of in baseball mode here. But if you do the player props in college football, they've already got that up. They're going to have NFL stuff, of course, for NFL season. So check that out. That trial links in the show description, or it's just Outlier.bet/professor. And that wraps us up here. A little recap. Got some favorites for you here. 2 out of 3 of these ought to hit. Good chance all 3 of them do, I think. A couple A-grade plays and a pretty solid B-grade play. Jake, you don't choose to back the Braves often, so I feel like when you do on show, I feel like you're a little leery of being accused of being a homer. So you're not just always taking the Braves. The fact that you're taking the Braves, I feel pretty good about this one. And again, I don't know if I've told people this under the hood, right? I kind of give you and cousin Jared, I kind of give you all a little bit of leeway most times to pick the. Sometimes we can't because there's only so many lines out there. But a lot of times I kind of just say, hey, pick what you want here. So, Jake, you picking the Braves here, I think bodes well for us. Any parting words for people as they head into the weekend?
Yeah, no, yeah, I try not to pick the Braves because I don't want to be accused of being a homer and just picking. I want you to actually listen to the analysis and not just assume I'm doing it because I love the Braves. But I
Exactly.
mean, I don't know if you mentioned it when you're going through the player prop stuff, but you're 7 of your last 9 on those too, like
7 of last 8. Yeah.
7 of the last 8. That's an unreal streak with player props because those are so hard to hit that consistently. So I mean,
Yeah, it's
everything
been a
you
good
got
one.
going is rolling right now.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun here. August has been good. July was every month's been good lately. I feel like the last bad month we had was like January, and that was what caused the shift to the money lines in college basketball. And I was like, I gotta find something new, and I did. I hate to use the phrase. It's like overplayed. People have the whole like I'm in the lab, and I'm not like it just seems kind of like lame to me. But like I don't know. As a professor, like I feel like I kind of was like in the lab, like nerding out trying to figure out what to do. I feel like January was the last bad month we had. So it's been a lot of fun. If you've been with us over on Dub Club, it's been a lot of profits. So I was talking to the Dub Club people, actually. People have already clicked off. No one's even watching now. So we're just talking. We're just shooting the breeze now. I was talking to one of the Dub Club guys, and they made the comment that over there we have some of the highest retention rate of all of their handicappers. I'm like, yeah, it's because like we've been doing well. People want to stick around. Not everybody's stuck. There are some people who've left, but for the most part, people sticking around because it's been good. So I don't know. I'm just terrible at marketing is the bottom line. I need someone to help me market because I don't know what I'm doing.
When that trial comes out, man, just everybody jump on that. Come see what it's about. Check it out, learn, and then when you stay, it's going to be well worth it.
Yep. Well said. All right. Well, thank you for tuning into this episode of Picks with the Professor. Don't forget to subscribe so you can enjoy the sports betting content right on this channel. It's dropped right into your feed. We back again Monday with more baseball betting content and that week 1 college football. But until then, as always, best of luck. And remember, you can eat your betting money, but please don't bet your eating money.